Welcome to the First and 30 podcast. I'm Nick. That's Antonino. This is episode 67. Before we get into it, Antonino, tell the chain movement what we're all about over here.
We are two 30-something-year-old guys giving you 4 preseason anticipation downs in 30 behind-the-scenes minutes of NFL football insight to get you through the offseason.
If people haven't picked up on it yet, in Antonino's intro, he's basically outlining everything we're going to talk about in the episode, but through riddles and rhymes. He's a wordsmith. He spends a lot of time crafting that, so I hope you appreciate it as much as I do. Antonino, this is the first time in, I think, a month that it's just the two of us in studio, mano y mano, no buffers in between. Are you ready for this, man? I mean, the gauntlet, I'm going to put you on the spot here, man. I don't know if you lost your touch or what.
No. I'm glad we could have this intimate experience. And I have to add, if you guys are watching on YouTube, the background over there is looking glorious. You got some helmets. You got a TV back there now. You've really stepped it up a notch, Nick.
I'm quite proud of my studio setup here. Like I've had the professional digs. I do encourage those that are listening on Spotify, go to YouTube, just check it out. Give us a comment. Are you liking it? You like the helmets? Anything that I can do to improve? Compared to Antonino's backdrop too. Like, sorry, man, I'm not trying to pick on you, but what's going on over there? That's boring. Come on.
Oh, take it easy. I mean business over here. I got my Buccaneers training camp sweat towel over here. Yeah, I need it for all the hot takes that we're about to go through, but I'm strictly business.
All right. Well, I mean, you just teased at the Buccaneers training camp towel. Why do you have that? Did you go there or something?
Oh, you better believe it. I was at One Buck Place because training camp is in session, and we were only 29 days from the start of the NFL season.
That's so true, man. And Madden comes out tomorrow. I'm going to be playing that. Fantasy football mock drafts have started. We have a fantasy football league that we're a part of with the other football podcasters, so we're going to be taking home a championship this year. It's glorious. I'm feeling all the good vibes, man. But I want to get into this first down topic with you waving that Bucs flag. You visited their training camp. You just alluded to that. You're kind of doing some sleuthing and some reporting. I know we joke about this quite a bit on First and 30, how Antonino just happens to find himself in locker rooms, getting the firsthand perspectives on what is actually happening. But this time, there's no fabrication. This is complete truth. Antonino was actually at training camp in Tampa Bay, getting the sights, the sounds. How was it, man? Just give me your instant reaction. What did you think?
Well, for one, there's never any fabrication here.
Oh, of course.
I'm going to give it to you straight. And at this training camp, it was glorious, 100-degree day, sweating like crazy. Get over there, tons of people ready to see their Buccaneers in action. You got the quarterbacks in their orange jerseys. You got the offense on one side of the field, the defense on the other side of the field. And I was personally keeping an eye out for a few players that we talked about, Nick.
Who might that be, Antonino?
I mean, off the top of the head, everyone's fan favorite, Shiloh Sanders.
Oh, okay. Shiloh. So for those that don't know, Shiloh is the brother of Shador, the son of Dion. Kind of infamous, but I think he has a better reputation than his brother Shador, right?
Absolutely. This guy is genuine. Class act. Dude does it all for the fan base. Check out his YouTube if you haven't. He goes around town. He meets everybody. I got to watch him up close and personally saw him interact with fans, kids, give autographs way after the practice was over. Everyone was chanting his name from the sidelines, even when they were doing reps on the field. They were chanting his name. No one else, just Shiloh getting all the attention.
Wow. So did you happen to watch how he performed on the field? Does he give you the optimism that he's going to make this team? Because he's one of those guys right now. He's legitimately fighting for a roster spot to make this team. Do you think he has a shot at doing it? What's the odds here?
Now, let me tell you something. I've been watching this kid since his days in Colorado last year, and he can hit. He's a thumper. And in the scrimmage that they had, he might not have took the first team reps, but when he got in, he had a blitz package for him. He was blitzing on the play that he went in there. Another play, he had a pass breakup. He read what the receivers were doing, and he jumped the route. So out of the plays where he was in there, all of them were successful. And I'm excited. I think he will make the team. That's my proclamation.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like we have a budding Shiloh Sanders fan over here with Antonino. And if you're not a follower of the First and 30 Instagram, go ahead and follow us, because Antonino was posting live coverage while he was there. And I believe Shiloh Sanders actually acknowledged our photographs of him that you posted through our channel, right? For your photographs through our channel.
He absolutely did. I posted videos of his plays. He likes them both. He engages with our podcast. So you're not alone, folks. Even Shiloh Sanders is engaging with the podcast.
Well, that's a cool point and a good segue here, because he's not the only player you interacted with while you're at Bucs Training Camp. I believe there was a retired ex-NFL wide receiver. He used to play with the Carolina Panthers, kind of notorious being like the short guy that had the temper but really fought hard, kind of like a pit bull type of guy. Who else did you interact with that ended up kind of having a little bit of a viral moment, I think, for First and 30 here, right?
You described that perfectly. The gritty Steve Smith Sr. That's right. Former Panthers receiver, former Ravens receiver. The guy soon to be in the Hall of Fame, might I add, walked right on by, right next to me. I gave him a little fist bump. I was like, "What's up, Steve?" Gave me a fist bump. He was sweating his behind off. He was wearing long pants, and he was sweating from head to toe. Poor guy sat down on the turf right in front of me at the goalpost. I was right behind the goalpost, and he was just shooting the you-know-what with me for about 5-10 minutes. He was like,
wait. I didn't catch this part. What were you guys even talking about? Did you exchange digits? Were you talking about like investor trading secrets? What could you have possibly been chatting with Steve Smith about?
At first he's like, "Hold on, let me watch a few plays. I got to do my job," because he works for NFL Network. But then after he sat there for a few minutes, me and a couple other fans were going back and forth. Baker Mayfield wasn't practicing on this day.
Oh, okay.
But Kyle Trask was, and word for word, and I quote, Steve Smith Sr. said, "Oh, Kyle Trash? Oh,
no."
And he corrected himself, but he did it on purpose. It was a pun. Kyle Trash.
Didn't the Buccaneers go out and sign Teddy Bridgewater like a day later in response to this Mayfield injury? Maybe they don't have much faith in Kyle Trask either. Well, he says Steve Smith, who has a job at NFL Network, was bold enough to just trash talk a current NFL player. It doesn't surprise me, but I just find that to be funny that he's willing to share that with the fans.
He also went on to say that it's not about the size or the height that matters. If you can get the job done, you can get it done. Kyle Trask, he's been in the NFL for a while, trying to make his way, got re-signed this past offseason. Former Gator, so he's trying to make his way in the league.
Former second-round pick at that. All right, man, before we head out of second down, give me one last thing that you saw when you're at Bucs Training Camp. I mean, this is fun. You can go and check out all the players running drills. What else was kind of like a highlight moment for you?
Besides seeing Mike Evans get a touchdown and seeing Baker Mayfield slap some offensive linemen's butts and watching Bucky Irving break out some runs, I saw it all. But the one thing that was hard to miss, again, pun intended, Desmond Watson, the 500-pound defensive lineman drafted by the Bucs, undrafted free agent from the Gators, another Florida Gator, heaviest player in NFL history, weighing at 460 pounds. I think it was more. I think he lost weight. He might be at 455.
You probably had to, right? Like that's not play weight. So was he even practicing, or was he just kind of like walking around to lose some of the pounds?
So I've seen the videos where he's walking around the practice field over and over. When I was there, he wasn't doing laps or anything like that, but he was not practicing. He was just walking from station to station. So he still has some work to do.
Okay. Interesting. The one last thing I'm going to say, and I know you glossed over this pretty quickly, what is up with the NFL players, specifically quarterbacks, and the whole butt slapping thing? I know this is totally off script here, but you mentioning Baker Mayfield, who has a hand contusion. So he has a hand issue, right? And he finds that he is capable of still going around and grab-assing with his teammates. That's interesting.
I would say it's a bonding thing. You really get chemistry from the slapping of the tush and a contusion. Mind you, everyone who doesn't know what a contusion is, It's just a bruise. It's just a fancy way of saying
I
bruise.
got you. No, I know what a contusion is, Antonino. So you think it's a bonding thing? I mean, is this something that you and I need to be doing then for 1st and 30? Should we be slapping each other's butts to like, hey, good job, man. Good call on that one, Antonino.
We can work on this. We'll see where this goes.
I wanted to hear you explain that one through. All right. Well, that does it for first down, man. Let's head into second down. Since we're on the topic of training camp as it is, how about we go kind of around the horn and let the chain movement know what we're hearing in terms of the latest buzz, because we're both plugged in. You know, you're going to training camps. I might go to the Ravens training camp, but we're also just kind of keeping a pulse on what a lot of these beat reporters are saying. What are some of the things that you're hearing? I'm going to share some of the things that I'm hearing too, and we can kind of go back and forth with that and let people know what's kind of the pulse with their teams and their players.
So this is Training Camp 101 here. These players are fighting for their lives to make these rosters as they go from 90 players to 53 players, okay? So everyone here fighting for their roster lives. And I'm going to circle and start with the one name that above all the players in the NFL from training camp that I like the most. I don't know if you're ready for this.
Are you ready for this?
I don't know if you're ready for this. My favorite player in the entire NFL is none other than quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, Bazooka Joe. That's right, Joe Milton.
Joe Milton
for the Cowboys.
He's looking good.
He's impressing everybody. 75-yard bombs, just dimes, lasers.
I've been seeing some of the footage coming out of Dallas's training camp, and I do have to admit, I am impressed with Joe Milton. I would not be surprised if he has a shot to play this season, mostly because Dak Prescott has been healthy, I think, 2-3 seasons out of the last 5. So typically Dak is going to go out with some form of an injury. We can anticipate that perhaps. But yeah, Joe Milton, he's been one of the big risers for sure. There's been fallers too, though, man. And I'm going to bring this name up, and I'm reluctant to do so because I have been on the Bears bandwagon since the offseason began, right? We even had Bear Den Live, Faizan, come on the show, where I had glowing remarks about Chicago, about their offense and the prowess and the potential with Ben Johnson there and adding these offensive linemen, the wide receivers. However, there are a lot of negative reports coming out around Caleb Williams and how he is performing in training camp. Quite frankly, he is apparently looking pretty awful. Have you been hearing this too?
I've heard the exact same thing. On Bears Family Night, he went 5 for 17 with 3 interceptions. On Bears Family Night, you probably had all those kids crying in the stands for what they had to witness. So bad.
Yeah, so Caleb Williams has been getting some negative press. Same with Michael Penix, the quarterback with Atlanta, 2 second-year guys that are trying to figure it out. But this, real quick, I want to remark here with the Caleb Williams thing. This is big. If he can't get it together this season, there are literally no excuses. Chicago has invested heavily in terms of making him successful. So it's what's going to happen here. Something's got to give.
And similarly, on that note, there's another team with a similar situation by the New York Jets, who we just also had Brent on.
Yep. Jets.
And Justin Fields having an awful camp, 15 for 43, 2 interceptions in his last 3 practices, full team practices.
I've been hearing
good.
It's 15 for 43, Antonino. That is abysmal. That is an awful completion percentage, and it's been reported his accuracy, obviously, given those numbers, has just been off. And we kind of anticipated, I don't know, the knock on Fields, he's been very inconsistent his entire career. Hasn't had an offensive coordinator, the same offensive coordinator since he's gone in the league. And we'll see how this all goes for the Jets, for the Bears. Hopefully for Brent and Faizan, our two collaborators over there, it works out for your quarterbacks. But right now, the early signs are not good. That's not the only place, though, Antonino, with the quarterback battles. The New Orleans Saints down there in NOLA, Louisiana, they have a quarterback battle between Spencer Rattler and Tyler Shuck, who they invested a 2nd-round pick, with a lot of people anticipating Shuck was probably the built-in starter. But there are reports that Spencer Rattler is apparently beating him out, which I'm sorry, that's just not a good sign because Spencer Rattler's awful, dude.
That sounds like a complete mid-off. Like both quarterbacks are just mid, so it's a mid-off. 2 average, mediocre quarterbacks. Yuck.
Yeah, that situation in New Orleans is just looking really, really bad, and I would want no part of anybody on their offense for fantasy football. What else are you hearing and seeing?
I mean, come on now. We can't go through and talk about training camp without talking about the Cleveland Brownies always finding a way to screw things up. We all know they have a boatload of quarterbacks now with Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett. They picked up Kenny Pickett, Shedeur Sanders, and then they've recently picked up another quarterback, so they have 5 quarterbacks.
Yeah, Tyler Snoop Huntley just got signed on. Shedeur was named the starter, though, for this upcoming preseason game, even though I don't think he's had really any snaps with the first-team offense, which is just bizarre that you're going to put him into that situation. But because of the injuries to Gabriel and Pickett and Joe Flacco being ancient and having no need to play in the preseason, this is what you get. So, Shedeur.
Hear me out. This right here, you know what this is? This is a performance to upgrade his trade value because I guarantee you they're trying to trade Shedeur. This is his audition for the 31 teams.
No.
He may get traded. Remember this.
As a rookie, you think that?
Camp.
What are you hearing? Like, where's your validation? Is this just completely out of thin air that you're making this up? Like speculation or what?
This is an audition, folks. They're letting their guys sit this first preseason game. Shedeur's going to get all the reps, the majority of the reps. Remember this.
So when do you think he's going to get traded? I'm sorry. I did not expect you to have this kind of like response to this. So you think he's going to get traded this season as a rookie?
It is possible. If he gets traded, it's only after he has a good performance on this game. If he has a bad performance, no trade value. He'll stick around. He might not like it, but he'll stick around. But I've heard rumors that he could start for 10 teams in the NFL right now, that he's throwing the ball really well.
Really? Give me one or two that you think he could start for. I guess the Saints. You think Chicago?
The Colts, the Saints?
No, because I was about to say this. They were another team.
Yeah.
I've been hearing good things about Anthony Richardson. He's going to get the start for the first game. Daniel Jones gets the start for the second game of preseason. But from all accounts, Richardson is having a decent camp. He's not looking bad. So there's some optimism still with his gameplay. And if he can just become a bit more accurate, who knows? Sky's the limit. But interesting. I was not anticipating you to come out here with that kind of speculative fire, Anthony. You know, Shedeur saying you're just trying to get clicks, man. That's that clickbait stuff right there.
I got the inside scoop. Browns fans, listen in. It's coming.
Okay. Well, one more name or two. I mean, Travis Hunter, he's been playing both sides of the ball. A lot of positive things. People are saying that as a wide receiver, he's looking like he could be the wide receiver 1, even over Brian Thomas right now. I think that's mind-blowing. There's been reports saying that he is that good right now, and he's showing off on both sides. So, Travis Hunter.
Yeah, the vibes are very high in Jacksonville. Check out their YouTube channel, Behind the Scenes Look at all things Jacksonville. New coaches, new staff, new blood. High hopes for Jacksonville. But one last thing, I want to end it on this. The two things, real quick. The Browns cornerback Martin Emerson Jr. torn Achilles out for the year. Another injury news, LA Rams quarterback Matt Stafford having issues with his back. He has to add an epidural, kind of a big deal to keep an eye on.
That is a huge deal. Because the Rams' whole offense and honestly their whole season is just riding on Matthew Stafford. This is a team that just played in the NFC Championship game. We're close to beating Philadelphia in that one too, if it weren't for them not being able to tackle Saquon Barkley. I mean, like the fantasy production too. I'm sorry, I always go to that mindset. Like Puka Nacua, Devontae Adams, Kyron Williams. Their stock drops significantly because you know who the backup is?
Garoppolo.
Jimmy G.
And he's been to the Super Bowl. He's won big games. He's been to the Super Bowl, won an NFC championship. He's done it.
How do you think Devontae Adams is feeling about the idea of Jimmy G throwing him more death balls again?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Well, do we not forget the time in Las Vegas already? This was 2 seasons ago at this point? Devontae Adams during it.
Yeah.
I want out.
Yeah. All the fun stuff in training camp. We could
That's
go
right,
all
man.
day.
All right.
Training camp fun.
It's so good talking training camp, but let's head into our halftime, our half-minute halftime. Antonino, tell the chamberlain what it's all about.
We are creeping up on the regular season, but First and 30 Pod is also creeping up on 2,000 followers on Instagram. We appreciate all of you. Hit that follow button and join the chain movement on the way to the regular season.
And if you're doing that, you might as well head over to YouTube because the subscriber list is growing there. We're trying to get to 100. You can check out the cool content, this great backdrop because it's engaging and fun. And we've been playing around with video editing too. So we're adding more clips and stuff. So if you want to check that out, go to our YouTube page.
Don't miss out.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that does it for our half-minute halftime show, Antonino. We had our first preseason football game just last week in commemoration of the Hall of Fame. So for third down, we're going to spend some time just covering the 2025 inductees. I just want to know how this list, because we had, 4 players, Jared Allen, Eric Allen, Antonio Gates, and Sterling Sharp. Which one of these guys has the most lasting memory and impact in your mind? So if you think of this list, who's the guy that your mind first gravitates to?
Oh, right away, Antonio Gates. Without a doubt, Antonio Gates, legendary tight end. Grew up watching him. It was him and Tony Gonzalez all the time. He played forever, and I love, personally, the duo of him and Phillip Rivers. Lasting impression, great duo. He gave the speech, called out Phillip Rivers. It was pretty emotional. I almost teared up.
Teared up. You got it. Words.
It was a beautiful thing. Definitely Antonio Gates.
That's right. I forgot you're a big-time Phillip Rivers fan. What is it about Phillip Rivers that you enjoy? The fact that he has 12 kids, or yeah, the gunslinger. Yeah, right.
That's like 12 kids. Yeah.
Yes. No, Gates. 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. I think he ended his career with the most touchdowns for a tight end, and I think he was tied third for most career receptions as well as career yards. So all decades team, 2000s. I love that choice. I think back the early days when he had Drew Brees throwing him, because that was his coming out. That year, Drew Brees kind of went off. The Chargers went 12-4. Gates was a Pro Bowler in his second season. It was pretty cool. Guy out of Kent State, a basketball player. Yeah,
basketball. Yep.
Honestly, man, though, when I was thinking of this list and I was looking through it, oddly enough, I just thought of Jared Allen in his career.
Jared Allen.
Yeah, I remember his time in Kansas City before he went over to Minnesota and became what he eventually became. But dude was like a safety specialist. I don't know if you knew this, but he tied for the most NFL career safeties for. So that's just yeah, right. That's a cool stat to pull out there, that this dude had that many safeties. But now I just remember him being a nightmare, like in one of Dallas's playoff games where they got destroyed by the Vikings. He was a big part of that. He was a big reason. So I really have a lasting image of him just sacking Tony Romo and us losing that game.
Well, speaking of lasting image, and usually when he made these plays against Tony Romo, he would get a sack, right, and do his little dance where he gets on like one knee and flails his hands up.
Right.
That, during the Hall of Fame ceremony, was my favorite part of the whole ceremony. He did the celebration after seeing his bust, does the celebration in front of everybody. He splits his pants right down his ass, right down his leg, split his pants completely. You can see his underwear. It was hilarious. Good for him to go out celebrating, but maybe the slim fit pants were a bad idea.
Yeah, that's I didn't catch it. I'll be honest, I didn't catch it. So I'm glad that you gave me the play-by-play of the split pants. I'd be remiss if we didn't at least mention Sterling Sharp too. This was a dude that his name had been popping up into the ballots for a while. 5-time Pro Bowler. But he set the NFL record for catches in a season back in 92. At the time, it was 108. He then broke that the very next season with 112. So he was Brett Favre's buddy during those heydays for the Packers in the 90s. So you can't forget about Sterling Sharp, the brother of Shannon, and then Eric Allen, the famous cornerback with the Eagles in the 80s, 6-time Pro Bowler, 54 career INTs. Congrats to those guys, right? Yeah.
Like, it's a shame Shannon Sharp, had to take the limelight a little bit from his brother. There was a whole thing. He got fired from ESPN.
And then what did he do?
he was involved with a little scandal months ago, but he's just now getting fired with a bunch of other people.
I see.
But I digress. Don't want to take away the moment from Sterling Sharp. Definitely well-deserved. I'm glad they didn't dilute this class. They have 4 strong guys here. Eric Allen, like you mentioned, Eagles, Saints, Raiders. Crazy to me that the contract that he got, I have this as a fun fact to mention here. When he signed with the Saints, it was for 5 years, $14 million. 5 years, $14 million.
That was big money back then.
That was big money. Contracts have come a long way. And just naming all these people, I officially feel old, Nick. Oh, I feel we watch these guys. Well, I feel old as dirt now.
You're at First and 30. We are too 30-something-year-olds talking about some football here. So we are getting older, man. Nice. I think that's a good segue, though, with your Eric Allen contract talk for our 4th down here, because there are a lot of trade demands happening right now during the offseason, as there typically are. We're seeing a lot of players with phantom ankle injuries, cough, cough, Terry McLaurin, and, sitting out for business decisions, cough, cough, James Cook. So why don't we go through this list and kind of do a little deal or no deal? Do we think they're going to get a deal from their team, or are they going to get traded away before the season begins? I want to go quickly with the first couple of names because there's a name at the end that's huge breaking news recently that I want to spend most of our time on this down with. So James Cook, he came to camp at first, right? He showed up, he was playing, and then randomly late last week, he just sat out of practice. And what was his response? Like, oh, it's business. It's business. Like, that was what he kept repeating over and over. So what are we thinking with James Cook? Is he going to get a deal by Buffalo, or is he going to get traded or have to sit out all season?
Shame on him. He's not going to get a deal. And I'm looking at one person, and it's the same agency that represented Shamar Stewart that just went through that long holdout. He's represented by the same folks. No deal. Bad all around.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. He has no leverage in this. None of these players have the leverage. May I just put out there, because they are all in contract still. It's really just up to the team. James Cook has other guys behind him, like, Ray Davis, who looked really good when he was playing last year. Maybe Buffalo rather let him play. So we'll see. Terry McLaurin's the other name that's been popping up here. He's technically on the physically unable to perform list, but he has been very, very adamant that he wants a new contract after, suffering 8 seasons with a terrible organization. And now all of a sudden they're good. He wants his money. He wants to get paid. Yeah. Deal or no deal?
No deal. Feel bad for the guy. Great player. Lasted all the tough times, but he turns 30 in September. His best bet, ask for a trade. Maybe he gets paired up with the Jets and the Ohio State trio over there, Garrett Wilson. I doubt it, but he's better off looking for a trade.
Yeah. I mean, I think Washington might be forced to do this too. I could see this being a trade situation because he's looking for DK Metcalf type of money. And I don't think McLaurin's a DK Metcalf, but Washington does need him. He was a really good safety blanket. Outside of him, who do they have? Zach Ertz. Zach Ertz and Deebo Samuel, 2 aging vets as well. So not what you want to see for Washington fans. Quickly, we've already talked about Trey Hendrickson a lot. He actually reported to camp.
Yep.
Shocker. Without a new contract.
He got tired of losing $50,000 a day for not reporting, so he showed up to save a little bit of cash. He'll get that back because they will make a deal before the season starts.
Yeah, I think he's realizing now. Let's revisit that offer that we had on the table back in the spring, maybe.
But last but not least, this is a big one.
This is the big one. If your head was buried under a rock over the past 5 days, Dallas Cowboys edge rusher Micah Parsons has come out formally requesting a trade, and he aired his grievances and dirty laundry for the entire world to see on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. It was like 3 pages from an iPhone note explaining the entire process that's gone into this and why he is making the decision that he no longer wants to play for Dallas. I'm going to let you give your quick reaction, but then we're going to flip it back on me here. But what do you think? Deal or no deal? Do you think Dallas is going to trade Micah Parsons at this point? I
don't think he gets traded. I don't think he gets a deal. Quite frankly, I think it's pathetic. I think it's a distraction. I feel like it's pathetic. Be a man, show up. The whole city, the whole state is relying on you to come in and lead them to a Super Bowl. And right as soon as training camp starts, this is what you do. You should be ashamed of yourself.
The whole situation has been bizarre, and it left me scratching my head and wondering, does Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys have something to gain from dragging these contracts out? I was chatting with you off air, speculating, maybe they have money into this. Maybe it creates this narrative, even during the driest part of the off season, like still having attention and focus on the Cowboys. ESPN needs something to talk about, and NFL Network does too during the off season. So why not talk about the Cowboys and their big star players that are always needing contracts? We've seen it with Dak. We saw it with CeeDee Lamb. So this isn't an anomaly. Now, I don't think Micah Parsons has any leverage in this whatsoever. He still has a year left on his rookie deal. Dallas can basically tell him, sure, go ahead, sit out. But we're going to do the same thing that the Bengals just did with Trey Hendrickson. And you're going to get fined $50K a day until you show up and do your job. So what's Micah going to do there?
Yeah. And then they can go and tag him after this year. They can just go and turn around and just give him the franchise tag. They can really put him
for 2 years.
Yeah.
I can keep dragging this out as long as they want. So I get it from a player's perspective. I mean, Jerry Jones is kind of a weird guy. He only wants to negotiate first with the player and not the agent, which is also kind of an interesting strategy. But I think Jerry Jones is honestly on his own high horsepower trip. He makes this way more difficult than it actually has to be. And I think that's by design, because I think he's egotistical and I think he enjoys having the power and the control in these situations. So that's just my take. I think they're both kind of silly, both guys, both people.
It's tough. You got to show up and play.
Yeah.
Come on, show up. Let's go.
I agree. All right, man. Well, that does it for our 4 downs. Let's hop into this 2-minute drill and cover some of the news.
Smelling salts have been banned in the NFL, and that could affect newly signed Raiders left tackle Colton Miller reaching an agreement for a 3-year, $66 million extension.
Well, ex-Chargers and Bears wide receiver Keenan Allen is reuniting with the Chargers on a 1-year, $8.5 million deal.
The Dolphins and D-tackle Zach Seiler agreed to a 3-year, $67 million contract with 44 guaranteed.
And ESPN is acquiring NFL Network and other NFL media assets, including the rights to Red Zone, in exchange for 10% equity stake in ESPN.
I hope they don't ruin that. The Denver Broncos are signing All-Pro D lineman Zach Allen to a 4-year, $102 million deal with 69 guaranteed.
NFL suspended Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison 3 games for violating the substance abuse policy.
Chargers linebacker Denzel Perryman was arrested for possession of an assault rifle. But get this, he was on the way to a gun range, but his guns were not compliant, and that's a no-go in California.
And I gotta get those things compliant, right? The Rams are agreeing to a contract extension with Kyron Williams. It's going to be worth 3 years, $33 million, cementing him as the workhorse back that has been there for the past 2 years.
As we mentioned earlier, Teddy Bridgewater making a return to the NFL by signing with the Buccaneers after getting in trouble as a high school coach.
Well, you were talking about smelling salts. The 49ers tight end George Kittle expressed his absolute frustration with this NFL ban. He even threatened to say that he was going to retire, because I think he does this literally before every drive. He does smelling salts. Not a very healthy thing, I think.
We need the smelling salts. And who else needs smelling salts? The Cincinnati Bengals' new tight end, former first-round pick and Seahawk, Noah Fant, on their way to bolstering their Super Bowl roster.
That's the one that's going to put you guys over the hump. Noah Fant, the dude that's now on his 3rd team.
Gotta love it, folks. Gotta love it. Training camp is here. So glad to bring it to you live from One Buck Place. Boys and girls, got the Bucs shirt on, got the Crowned in Tampa hat on. I'm so glad it's football season, Nick. Fantasy's almost here. College, pros, you name it, Madden. But you know the drill. We'll see you on the next one. The next one is the best one.
That's right. Thanks for joining us on another episode of First and 30. Until next time, remember, when your number's called, no matter the odds,
let's go for it.